In the world of gaming and entertainment, few franchises have achieved the iconic status of Pokémon. Since its inception in the mid-90s, Pokémon has transcended boundaries, becoming a beloved brand worldwide.
Be forewarned, if you haven't been already, the hottest thing in the 12 and under set is coming soon to a theater near you. Pokémon the movie joins Pokémon the video game and Pokémon the trading card as must-sees and must-haves.
I have both Game Boy games, Game Link cable, the red and blue version. I'm gonna get Pokemon Stadium, Snap, yellow version, golden. I'm a Pokemaniac.
This is going to be one of the hottest selling toys for the holidays. This is a talking Pikachu from Hasbro Toys, not even in the stores yet. It's going to be in next month.
That's all they're wanting now is pure Pokemon. We haven't sold any yo-yos or Star Wars merchandise in a long time.
But how did it all begin? Let's dive into the fascinating origin of Pokémon, exploring its creator, the development process, and its impact on culture and society. The story of Pokémon begins with Satoshi Tajiri, a Japanese game designer and the founder of Game Freak. Born in 1965 in Tokyo, Tajiri had a deep passion for video games from a young age.
What are video games to you? To me, games are life itself.
He was particularly inspired by his childhood hobbies of collecting creatures and exploring nature. This fascination with collecting would later influence his version of Pokémon. In the late 1980s, he began creating his own video game magazine called Game Freak.
In the early 80s, there was a time when no video game media existed. And as someone who goes to arcades, I wanted to somehow express to others how fun they are. So I decided to make something by hand. It's all handwritten, isn't it? That's right.
Eventually, he transitioned from magazine publishing to game development, leading to the founding of Game Freak as a game development company in 1989. The initial concept of Pokémon came about in the early 1990s when Tajiri envisioned a game where players could capture and train creatures, drawing on his childhood experiences. The idea of trading creatures between Game Boy devices was revolutionary. It inspired the name Pokémon, which is a contraction of the English words pocket and monsters. Tajiri's vision was not just about catching creatures, he wanted to create a game that fostered social interaction among players. This concept of connectivity was innovative for its time and became a fundamental aspect of the Pokémon experience. In 1990, Game Freak began development on Pokémon. The initial games, Pokémon Red and Green, were created by a small team at Game Freak and were released in Japan on February 27, 1996. The design of the creatures was led by Ken Sugimori, who developed a range of original Pokémon that would capture the imaginations of players.
The style is not that extraordinary, but the facial expression defines its character. This creature is lovely, creepy, and a bit charming, which consists of the three main elements of Pokémon. I think it is a good Pokémon.
The original Pokémon games featured 151 different creatures, each with its own unique abilities and characteristics. Players would assume the role of a Pokémon trainer, battling other trainers and collecting Pokémon to become the Pokémon champion. The launch of Pokémon Red and Green was a significant risk for Nintendo. However, the games were met with critical acclaim, selling over 31 million copies in Japan alone.
We think that at this point we're up to about $7 billion total. And we expect the year 2000 will probably be the biggest year for the franchise ever because of it being so global.
The success of Pokémon quickly transcended gaming. The anime series debuted in April 1997, featuring Ash Ketchum and his trusty Pikachu as they traveled the world, capturing Pokémon and competing in battles. The anime further popularized Pokémon, introducing characters and storylines that resonated with audiences. The Pokémon trading card game, launched in 1996, also became a cultural phenomenon.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Charizard card, the most wanted card here.
I'll trade you this for a Gyarados.
These things will be worth something in a few years.
This is my most favorite card in the world.
These boxes here have actually gone up in price faster than some of our football boxes.
Kids and collectors began trading and battling with cards, creating a vibrant community around the game. Tournaments were held, and the cards were highly sought after, with some rare cards fetching thousands of dollars at auction.
Christina Levy spent $1,000 last month on Pokemon. Such enthusiasm has driven the stock of one toy maker up 50% and prompted a string of new products.
It's going into a lot of areas of activity that children are interested in, and that's why it's becoming so ingrained in our culture.
The franchise continued to expand with the release of Pokémon Gold and Silver in 1999, introducing new Pokémon and gameplay features. This sequel solidified Pokémon's status as a long-term franchise and laid the groundwork for future games including Pokémon Ruby, Sapphire, and beyond. As technology advanced, Pokémon adapted and evolved. The introduction of 3D graphics and new gameplay mechanics revitalized the franchise, with games like Pokémon X and Y and Pokémon Go, which took the world by storm in 2016. An augmented reality game allowed players to explore the real world while catching Pokémon, bringing the franchise into a new era of engagement.
We're back now with something that may explain any odd behavior you've seen on the streets recently. The smash hit mobile game app Pokémon Go has only been out for a few days.
He texted me like 30 minutes ago saying, let's meet up in Hollywood to catch Pokemon.
Pokemon Go uses the GPS data from your cell phone to let you track Pokemon in the real world.
To go catch Pokemon, and at least our world version of it is pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's just really immersive. Like I said, it gets you out here doing stuff. I just talked to a bunch of people on the path doing it.
We started talking, and then they showed up, and then we started talking, and we were just like, hey, we all play Pokemon Go. It's Pokemon right there, Pokemon right there. And that's how we became friends, Pokemon Go friends. That's just how it is.
Today, Pokémon remains a global powerhouse. With video games, animated series, movies, merchandise, and competitive gaming leagues, it continues to capture the hearts of fans, young and old.
Full art machine. Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
The origin of Pokémon is a testament to the power of creativity and imagination. From Satoshi Tajiri's childhood bug collecting adventures to a multi-billion-dollar franchise, Pokémon has evolved while staying true to its roots. It has created lasting memories for generations and continues to inspire new fans every day. The legacy of Pokémon serves as a reminder that the spirit of adventure and exploration can be found in the most unexpected places.